Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today at 941-877-1552 or email us at publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. The Tangent is a progressive rock band from Northern England based around keyboards, player, composer, and idiosyncratic vocalist Andy Tillison. Their music is cinematic and lyrical, full of narrative, often telling stories of making observations about the world we live in, often choosing subject matter more associated with Anarcho-Punk bands than with the genre in which the band choose to base themselves. No Hobbits or Orcs in our songs. The band have released a steady output of well-regarded albums through their record label, Inside Out Music. The band has changed personnel many times and has used this fluidity to keep ideas fresh and lucid. The debut album, released in 2003, The Music That Died Alone, was often referred to as a supergroup project, though Tillison has always eschewed this title, preferring to go for the less obvious, a good idea. In 12 years, the group has had close affiliations with Swedish progressive legends, the Flower Kings. Tangent philosophy has been to embrace other, more contemporary bands, whether overtly progressive themselves, Flower Kings, Spock's Beard, Argos, Magenta, etc., or completely away from the official boundaries of the genre into metal, jazz, modern pop, soul, disco, and film music. The Tangent do not follow the prog rock rulebook. It's more what we do that sets us apart, Tillison said in a 2007 interview. We've always avoided doing the 12-string acoustic stuff, and in fact, anything that gets too Genesee or Floyd-like usually gets binned. That's not to say that there aren't influences, just that we don't like the idea of being confined to the styles of those particular figureheads. The spirit of progressive rock music was carried by lots more people than Genesis. I think that too many of us use the obvious source, the 70s bands, and forget to look around us and see what our contemporaries are up to. Over the years, the band has had many manifestos, all of which are still relevant to the future of the Tangent. Please welcome British keyboardist, singer, composer, best known for his work in the progressive rock bands Parallel or 90 Degrees and the Tangent, Andy Tillison, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Andy.
Hello there, mate. Yeah, well, that was a nice build-up. Thank you very much indeed.
Hi, you're very welcome.
Yeah, lovely to talk to you, Ray.
I gotta admit, man, I first heard you guys on Moro, Prog Radio. I listen to that a lot. I'm a big progressive rock fan, and I became a huge fan of the Tangent, and this was recently. I mean, I go back, it reminds me of when I first discovered Camel, way back when. You guys are incredible.
Oh, that's nice of you to say so. Yeah, it's always nice to be discovered, whether it's earlier in our career or later in our career. It's always nice when people finally hook on to us and everything like that. You know, we do what we. I mean, you read out what our manifesto kind of is, I suppose, and we still try to live up to that. Yeah, and I'm glad you see it that way, Evan.
You know, there's so many great, not great, but very good prog bands out there. And I guess Morrow is one of the, best resources today to find out who's really out there. But when I heard you guys, I was totally blown away. The musicianship in the band is just incredible. And your latest album, which I believe came out in 2018, I love a lot. I gave it 5 stars.
Well, that's very good of you. I'm glad you did. It was quite well received. It was our last album, Proxy. And, obviously I was very pleased with that. It was our 10th album, and of course, there's always that difficulty of we did start with a bang. Our first album was very well received and everything, and obviously we have to do a lot of thinking to make sure that it wasn't just a flash in the pan, because at the time there was only going to be one Tangent record, but it was just something. It was so successful, the record company were keen to carry on with it, and I think I was too, to be fair. So since that point, we've had to kind of plan what we're going to do with it and where it's going to go next and that kind of thing. And I think that although it's been difficult, because of course progressive rock bands nowadays certainly don't command the amount of financial input that they used to do.
Right.
So we still managed to as I say, record 10 albums, get out, tour right round the world, I suppose. We played from Russia to Chicago and all points in between, I guess. And it's been a great time. We've been together as this band for 15 years, and like you say, we've had plenty of people in and out of the group, but there's been some constants, and I think that those constants, it's beginning to settle now. Actually, after 15 years, we're beginning to kind of feel like there's people who were in the band rather than people who were just passing through it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, you have an incredible guitar player, a nice young, great guitar player. And he really shines on this album as well. So do you, but Proxy is a great album. You said it was not a concept album. It's more or less a collection of songs that loosely belong together. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. And that, to be honest, is pretty much the way I like to operate. I don't really go so much for the concept album
right.
As a format myself. We've done one album which I reckon was getting on to be a concept album, but and that was called Le Sacre du Travail, which was made in 2013, and that was very much a loosely based concept about the working day and the way we give our lives to our jobs for not very much in return, apart from enough money to have a roof over our heads. But I wouldn't call it a concept album in the way The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway or Snow or Subterranean is a concept album. It's less that kind of thing and more a themed album really. And I think that's pretty much the way I like to work, to be honest.
I love your philosophy because you talk, each song is something, that relates to something in your life, or something that's happened, and sometimes you have to go back and make a new song to let everyone know what's happening now with the news that you mentioned in another album. It's really, really neat the way you structure these songs, and it's all about life itself. It's reality. Like you said, there's no what was the word you used in my intro? I can't remember now, but there's no fantasy.
Okay.
There's no fantasy. Yeah, and a lot of... Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, one thing that I've often noticed is missing from a lot of interviews and things is that whether people don't feel it the same way as I feel it, but we often talk about, one album of a band in isolation and talk about, Dark Side of the Moon and this and we take them as very separate things, and Dark Side of the Moon and Animals or, a Memento Lapse of Reason. We take those as certain finished items. And I don't actually see that. I kind of see that as, that's Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is the thing. And the various points of Pink Floyd are just chapters within it. They're kind of like the tracks on the album. And Pink Floyd and its whole history is the album. And I think that what we try to do with the Tangent is to make the whole story from where we first started in 2002 to 2003 to now is in effect the same kind of thing. If we had to call ourselves a work of art, as I hope that most bands do think of themselves as being artists, and but to me the creation is the Tangent. It's not something the Tangent makes albums and everything like that, or that we have been the Tangent, and that all our work is all our work. That's the thing, and I think that's an important thing, that to have an overview of what you've done and be working towards it, so that tells an overarching story as well as the individual albums, and that's something I like to work towards, and feel I'm working on it all the time. And obviously, one day it'll stop, but not until they nail my coffin shut.
Well, the band has stuck to their guns with all those albums. You haven't ventured out of who you are, which I admire a lot. There are a lot of prog bands that have sold out, and one of those guys is Phil Collins. I was very disappointed when Phil Collins went off on his own and did the R&B stuff on the radio and things like that. I mean, you just don't do that. Not coming from a band like Genesis. Genesis was like a band, like it was a religion, just like Yes was in the beginning. And you got you guys are pure. You guys are very, very talented. Very, very talented.
When you mentioned Phil Collins, of course, the thing is that obviously, I've got a lot of beefs about Genesis, to be honest, but that doesn't matter, because in the end, they don't even know who I am, so it wouldn't be of any consequence to them whatsoever. But I obviously feel that, Phil Collins came into the band, he got the gig, he got a job, and everything like that, and who's to say that it was the band for him for his whole life, and he wanted to go off and do something else, he wanted to do something more pop-like, and of course he went and did it, and he was wildly successful at it, and of course he turned Genesis round to be a completely different kind of band altogether in the 80s from the one they were in the 70s.
Exactly.
Although personally I will always prefer the 1970s material that they did, what they did was valid, and but just not as much my cup of tea, and in the end, there's no point in getting annoyed with them and saying, oh, it's terrible, you just enjoy the records they made that you do like, because there's plenty of other really great music out there, and I don't have to worry. I don't know why everybody's so worried about, wouldn't it be great if Genesis made one more great album when Roy Stoltz made 28,
Yeah, that's true.
There's so much to hear, so much great music, of adventurous music. And of course, like the Tangent, we do pop songs, and as well as I think that people like Stephen Wilson and ourselves and a number of other bands are all prepared to move outside the genre and explore other areas, because of the fact that, we've obviously, we're not young, and we've got a vast amount of musical experiences and influences built up over the years, and, so that, like any other person who's 60 years old and have kids at some point, in the 1980s, and they grew up during the 90s, we all got to hear the Spice Girls a lot, and we all got to hear what our sons were listening to and daughters.
Right.
And, in my case, it was Oasis, Radiohead, Spice Girls,
right.
and Destiny's Child and stuff. And this stuff grows on you. You get into the music with your kids, and they have an influence on you. And,
right.
And of course, during the 1970s, whilst I was buying all the Yes albums and loving them, and absolutely falling in love with the music, on the radio they were playing Earth, Wind and Fire, and I was falling in love with that as well. So I don't think we should be restricted, but we centered ourselves certainly in the progressive rock arena. I think that's perfectly fair to say, and of course I've always totally loved that form of music, but I don't want to be restricted by it. And of course this is how the original bands came together in the first place. They didn't have a template to work to, they just created this music, and that's why they were all completely different. And I think that we have to be different to Big Big Train. I think that Big Big Train has to be different to Magenta, and and I think all of us have to be different to the North Hollow. So how do we do that? Well, just listen to all the stuff that we normally do, and it's bound to be different. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I love R&B. I was a top 40 disc jockey back in the late 70s, and I played a lot of, new wave music. The Cars were big. Disco was there with Donna Summer and that kind of thing. But there's a seriousness about prog rock, just like there's a seriousness with classical rock or classical music. When you want to get serious about life and reflect on the world and your being and that kind of thing, that's where music, like Yes and the Tangent and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and the Camel and that kind of thing, that it just brings it goes into your soul. You know what I mean? The top 40 stuff and like you were saying, R&B and things like that, it doesn't it's fun music, but it doesn't reach down into your soul like prog rock does. There's a seriousness about the music.
Yeah, I get that, and I do love that aspect of it. Of course, I do.
Right.
I like the depth of it.
Right.
And I like the fact that I can lose myself in the music and go on journeys whilst I'm listening to it. Back in the day, I'd put on Close to the Edge, and I'd go on travels with it. I'd see things in my mind, and it's a fantastic place to lose yourself.
Right.
Of course, the same with the more sort of like tangible sort of stuff that Roger Waters used to write about life in general. I really enjoyed getting into all that too. But at the same time, I love a great pop tune, and from S Club 7 through to my favourite record of all time is Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Diana Ross. If I only was allowed one record on my desert island, that'd be it. Because it's got everything: big arrangement, fabulous singer, wonderful chorus, great lyrics, and hope in its heart. It's an absolutely fantastic piece. So I just think that that's it. When Yes came together, they were listening to stuff like Ornette Coleman and the Beatles and rock and roll and television theme tunes. You can hear them all over Yes's early albums, and different ways of looking at things. And I think that the great thing about progressive rock music is that it's an incredibly big fusion Emerson, Lake and Palmer, who were putting Dark together with Atomic Rooster. You know, you've just got so many different fusions that are possible, and I think that's, you know, I think a lot of bands since 1980 started off with using a progressive rock band as the kind of main influence. So, like, you know, I don't think you can deny it. I mean, I don't want loads of phone calls from my irate Marillion fans, but Marillion started off as a band who sounded like Genesis, and I don't think you can really argue with that. And when they did, you know, they became a first band to sort of like have built their sound on another progressive rock band sound, whereas the original lot had all built their sound on something completely different, which is why they all sounded so different at the time.
Right.
And I just wanted, when I started my little fusion with the Tangent, I looked at the various different things I wanted to be in the Tangent sound to start with, and then, you know, made that sound, and of course you can hear the influences all over it. I'm not claiming its originality in any way, and never would, but just got those certain sort of like stimuli, those certain little influences which we wear on our sleeve quite happily.
Sure.
But the mixture, that particular sort of like way we work, is what we do, and that's us, and it's recognisable, and it means that we're not the same as the Flower Kings, it means we're not the same as Big Big Trey. You know, we use a lot more jazz than those bands, and, you know, that just makes us, you know, who we are, and it makes them who they are. And we're all different, and that's the great thing about the whole musical form in the first place.
Right.
You know, we just don't sound the same as each other.
You don't, and there is a lot of progressive rock that does. But, you know, like you said, you might hear a little bit of, you know, Camel or Emerson, Lake and Palmer and this and that. But no, you guys got your own style. That's why I'm so excited about the band. And like you said, you got a lot of jazz in there, you know, and to me it's like it's deep. It's like the you know, from the roots of jazz it comes out, you know, with the prog and you guys are, and I love your voice too. There's a little. Sometimes, I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, sometimes you sound like Ian Anderson. I don't.
Oh, right, okay.
But that's a good thing.
That's not something I try for or anything. In fact, I don't usually get that said about myself. It's usually another friend of mine who gets that, but not me.
I've heard it in a few songs.
I sort of like end up with. I'm often sort of like. I think that a lot of my vocal style has to be said. I try to model it on one of my heroes. And
right.
That's Peter Hamill from Van the Graaf Generator, who are probably my favourite band of all time when it comes down to it. If we were to have that kind of debate, and yeah, there's a lot of Peter Hamill vocal styling which I found very useful to try to be able to emulate in that way. Of course, I've taken other singers into account, like Lee Jackson from The Nice, because you know, he wasn't very good as a singer, and to be honest, I think the fact is that I know, and I've always known, and I'm the first to admit that I am not a good singer, but Lee Jackson was a real inspiration to me, because I could say, okay, he isn't a good singer either, but what he does in the band works, and I was able to listen to think, okay, how does somebody who can't sing as well as, you know, Greg Lake or John Anderson or you know, all those people, how can somebody who's not as good at singing work within a band? And I think the same's probably true for Andy Latimer and Camel. I mean, you don't think of him as one of the great rock vocalists, different set of priorities.
Sure.
And, you know, my priorities are not about commercial success at all, you know.
Right.
I'm not the slightest bit interested, really, in trying to make the band more palatable so I make more money. Because, you know, if that was the kind of thing I was doing, I wouldn't be in prog rock to start with. I'd be in something that makes a lot more money. I'm in prog rock because this is what I say, it's what I want to say, and so consequently, I actually see myself as a composer and lyricist, and that's before I see myself as a keyboardist, let's be honest. I think lyrics is a really, really important thing for me. You know, when I start writing music, I think, what's this about? You know, what am I writing about here? And a lot of the lyrics, when I've written them, to try to get this concept over is a little bit difficult sometimes, but when you're actually singing a piece of music, you're not just singing it, you're saying the words, and the way you say them is really, really important to me. Now, sometimes I've tried getting a much, much better singer in than I have, and I find that they sing it, and it sounds great and everything, but when I listen to it, they're not saying the same thing. They're saying it in a different way.
Right.
And consequently, I think, it sounds nicer, but the meaning of the words is not coming over in the way they were intended to be.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
yeah.
So, particularly if they're actually singing my words, then it's almost like they're reading from a script, and, you know, they're thinking more about how it works musically than how it works as a piece of narrative. And I think that's something that I eventually realised, it's got to be me who sings, because I know what I want to say and how I want it to be said. And I think that any singer who I worked with just wanted to kill me because they said, no, you put the wrong the wrong amount of weight on the word of. And they probably want to kill me within a week. Over.
No, you need to sing your own
lyrics.
I'm
saying over because I'm a radio ham, you know, and I'm it's too weird.
Back to the album once again. The Melting Andalusian Skies was probably one of my favorites. I mean, you had classical, you had jazzy, incredible track, incredible piece of music. You know, I can't say, you know, much more how much I love the band. The group is incredible, and I've interviewed a lot of guys. You know, I've interviewed all of ELP, the Moody Blues, Steve Hack, a lot of prog guys, and I am really happy with the group. I love the Tangent. It's a great band.
Well, it's fantastic to hear that and being mentioned with all those other people, and thank you very much.
It's a great band.
The Melting Andalusian Skies is absolutely great for all those people who don't like my voice because they don't sing on it. It's an instrumental. And we've been doing a couple of instrumentals on the past couple of albums, and I've enjoyed that. We're making another album at the moment.
Oh, good.
And there aren't any just instrumentals on that. Although, of course, there's a load of instrumental stuff. That one was written during a very creative time. I think I wrote about this the other day. I had a heart attack in 2015, and after it was over and I'd gone over all the kind of depression that follows one of those things, I suddenly had this really big creative moment and managed to make I wrote about 4 jazz fusion instrumentals, one after the other, just in a matter of days, and one of them was called Dr. Livingston, I presume, and the other one became, one of them became The Melting Andalusian Skies, and they were on consecutive albums.
Right.
I'm glad you like that track. It's one of my favourites, actually. I really enjoyed doing that one. I enjoyed recording it, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So I'm glad it made your favour.
Another one, the Adulthood Lie. Whose vocals are on that? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
That is you. Yeah.
And the Adulthood Lie, of course, is a really important thing for the Tangent. You know, I wanted to try something completely different on that track, and that was how Yes would find different musical sources that were around at the time they were playing, from 1968 to the early 1970s, listening to the music that was going on around them at the time to build up their sound. Well, I thought, okay, let me take a snapshot of what's happening in the world around me right now and what kind of music is really big out there and everything. And of course, the world out there was kind of made up of lots of dance music, dubstep and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of thought, surely if Yes can sort of like invent progressive rock music based on sort of like, pop songs of the time, TV theme tunes and modern jazz and Stravinsky at the time, surely I can make a piece of prog rock, pure prog rock out of dance music. So not only did we decide to try and do that, we decided we would do the album's epic track, the longest track on the album as a dance track, electronic dance music, that turned into a prog rock song with different time signatures, different sections, ups and downs, proper progressive format that made up out of electronic dance music. And I think that is one of our most successful experiments because a lot of people found it quite a joyful experience and something that was completely different. I think we pulled something out of the bag for that one. I think another couple of artists since we did that have thought that was a good idea and done it too. So I'm pleased about that.
Yeah, it also touches a nerve for us guys who are getting older too. You got the worst part about getting old is remembering when you were young. That's a great say. It's an older man that is saying that on the track, and rekindle the fire in my heart. These are great lines.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it was a case of a lot of us grew up and because we grew up, there's that period in your life when you just think, nothing's ever as good as it used to be, and
like now.
It's snobby about things. So when dance music and Ibiza pop music and all the raves were happening in the 1990s, I was being very snobby about it. That's not music, DJs, all that kind of stuff. That's not music.
Right.
And then looking back on it, I kind of think, God, they had a fantastic time. Look at those crowds of people enjoying themselves. How much they loved that music. Doesn't matter who was creating it. Doesn't matter whether it was a DJ or a band or anybody. Just look at the love that they got out of that music. And I realised to myself, I missed it. I missed it because I was too busy being snobby and going, progressive rock music is far better than this kind of thing. I missed it.
Yeah.
And what's the point of missing good things in life? I mean,
it's true.
I wrote about it ruefully, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think that the message of the song, towards the end, the most important line is, there's still time.
There's still time, right. Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, the time meant that I could go back and discover an awful lot of that and come forward and enjoy the stuff that's happening now. And, because it's all just fantastic different tastes from all over the world, all over time and everything. And I just love music, and I love to give everything a chance. I think that's all it is. And it inspires the other musicians in the band as well, because they really like the fact that, Jonas loves the fact that as well as getting to play sort of like the usual kind of prog rock epics, he really is happy to get a really good funky bass line to get to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And something that's got a bit of a groove. And sometimes, the tandem's music, I say the tandem's music, gets a bit sexy from time to time, it's kind of, it's got a bit of a swagger to it. And, I'm not in any way suggesting that the band is sexy. That's certainly not me. Anyway, I think you know what I'm saying.
Well, you got some funky prog, jazzy prog in a couple of your tunes, like Proxy. Very, very jazzy, funky, and the other one, A Case of Misplaced Optimism. Sounded a little bit like Jeff Beck in a way. Then I heard a little Sade. Very funky track and great sax. Love the sax. I can listen to sax all day. Great tune.
Yeah, sax players are getting really easy. I mean, all sax players have to do is be able to get a note out of it. And everybody goes, oh, sax is great. They only do is play 3 notes.
I know.
But like Theo's an absolute great guy. I mean, what a fantastic saxophonist.
Yep. Theo Travis. Yep.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrific. I mean, the tangent's sort of like, I've often joked about it, so it's like a kind of, it's like a path to promotion. The people who've been to the tangent, we were obviously Jonas is now playing with Steve Hackett. Theo Travis is with the Soft Machine and played with Dave Gilmore on tour, on his last tour.
Unbelievable.
Jacko's in King Crimson.
Right.
So is Gary Harrison, who played with us once, and Luke's playing for Francis Dunnery's It Bites and stuff, so everybody's doing very well except me, because I've just got to focus on writing the stuff. So that's my real only thing I do, I guess. Really, I've never been a kind of a session guy. I'm predominantly interested in just composing and writing my own music. I guess that sometimes it'd be nice to get a tour with a band that I like. I nearly got a Camel gig once, but
really
that felt a bit when they managed to find another guy who'd already been in the band at one point before and already knew the stuff. So I lost that one. So that's just the way of the world.
The last track on the album, I just want to mention Exo Oceans. Another, brilliant piece, very spacey, jazzy. The whole album is incredible, and I'm really looking forward to the next album. When is it the new album coming out, and who's going to be on it?
You're talking about the bonus track on Proxy there, which is that's a piece of electronic sort of like Tangerine Dream kind of
exactly.
Suppose.
Yeah.
And that's actually taken from my solo album, which is called Exo Oceans.
Oh, okay.
And we just put that on there to hopefully sell a few copies of Exo Oceans, which we did, so that's all right. The new Tangent album is currently just being mixed now. It's due to be finished within the next couple of weeks, and you'll probably be seeing the album out somewhere in August, coronavirus permitting, and all that kind of stuff. Which obviously it's really nice to be not talking about too much. So,
I know, exactly.
Because of course, making a prog rock album this week does seem like a bit of a kind of secondary piece of information, but I think that we just have to carry on and do what I can, and hope I'm still alive at the end of it all. And
you'll be fine.
And if I'm not, well, the album at least will be finished. So looking at it in that way, and I think that this is a really nice Tangent record. I don't know if you've followed any previous interviews I've done and stuff, but
I have.
In general, I don't like to listen to my own music too much. I never really am totally happy with what I do. I'm just one of those guys, Some people love their own music. I'm not so keen. And I don't think it's because I don't like it. Of course I like it, but I think it's just by the time I reach the end, I'm so sick of hearing it, I never want to hear it again. But this album, for the first time since 1987, when I first started recording with my bands, I'm kind of actually really enjoying hearing it. And that's very strange for me. So maybe it means that everybody else will like it. It's just nice for me to be enjoying making the record, and I can't wait for people to hear it, of course. And that's the same every time. So this is the 11th album, and it's going to be called Auto Reconnaissance or Auto Reconnaissance, depending on how you pronounce it. But I mean it in the French way, which means looking at ourselves, really. That's what it means. And it's kind of it's quite a thoughtful record. It's also very positive in its feel. It's not one of our negative albums.
Very good. And also Parallel or 90 Degrees. What's happening with that?
PO90, we haven't done anything for a very long time,
right.
And I'm not sure that we will. But
another great group.
It was a band that I absolutely loved, and in many ways, that was the band I really wanted to have a breakthrough. It just couldn't happen. I mean, after we did the PO90 stuff, we did it for a number of years. We started in about 1996 with the band of that name, and we had 5 albums out, and then the Tangent opportunity arose, and basically the 6th PO90 had been released, and essentially the first Tangent record sold more copies than the entire history of PO90
really?
In 4 weeks. 4 weeks, that's all it took. And the thing was is that, I just had to look at it and think, I want to be a musician. This is, who I want to be, and it's just obvious that my career path lies down this road, we did get PO90 back together again, and we did make another record, and that was good, and I'm not ruling it out at all. I'd love to work with those guys again, but I actually feel that I let those people down, to be honest, and I don't feel good about it. I'd love to make another record with PO90. It's just a question of whether I would ever be able to persuade them to do it.
Yeah, the songs like what Blues for Lear, right? That's from the band. The Time Capsule.
Yeah, well, Blues for Lear was originally a PO90 song.
Okay.
It was recorded on the album. I think it was on the Time Capsule.
Great tune. Great tune.
And of course, it later got redone and reimagined with Roynard Salt on guitar and things, which was going to be on the first Tangent album, but we decided not to. But yeah, it's mainly a PO90 song. Is that one? Yeah.
Migraine, another Parallel 90 degrees.
Yeah, Migraine on that was definitely one of my favourites.
Yeah, me too.
And that was on Unbranded, and we did some good stuff. And
you did great stuff.
PO90 was quite an innovative band at the time. We were operating in pretty much the same set of venues and areas of recording. I mean, we were around with the early Porcupine Tree,
right.
That was our kind of. There was us, there was them, there was all the Unicorn, and a fair few other kind of like experimental bands who weren't quite prog, but were leaning that way, and that's what PO90 was.
Great band. I mean, equally, the Tangent and that band as well. I mean, I could be on a desert island and listen to those two band groups, and I'd be happy.
Well, that's good. At the moment I'm listening to, I've got an awful lot of music I listen to at the moment. I'm currently discovering a couple of older artists that are really turning me on. One of
like
them
who?
is a DJ producer musician called Square Pusher.
Okay.
And I'm listening to a lot of his music. It's fantastic for me. I really like it. And the other guy I'm discovering is Pat Metheny.
Oh, Pat Metheny, yeah.
The American guitar player.
Yeah.
And maybe Canadian, I don't know. I can never work these people out. But absolutely amazing, both of them. And, I'm learning new stuff from them. I hope that learning process goes on for the rest of my life, cause,
right.
That's what it's all about. I just love to organise sound into things that other people like to hear.
I had one of the guys that you kind of admired on the show, Bill Nelson from Bebop Deluxe.
Oh, right. Well, he used to live not very far away from me,
really?
Actually, so, I'm from the same area of England. So.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Great band. Also a great band. You grew up, actually, when you were younger, you grew up listening to classical music, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, my mum was a very, very musical lady, and she had a fantastic record collection with all the real great, obviously the Beethoven's, Bach's,
right.
Mozart, everything, but there was also, Shostakovich, and there was Rimsky-Korsakov, Prokofiev, Stravinsky. She was never so keen on Stravinsky herself, but she had a couple of records. And then she liked quite a lot of early music, Palestrina, madrigals, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she had a couple of Glenn Miller albums, which was really nice and cool to listen to. And she played the piano, and of course, I just gradually worked my way through all these fantastic records she had. And I loved the Beethoven symphonies. And,
right.
I think I've mentioned it before that I used to put on the Pastoral Symphony, number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, it's supposed to be about the countryside and everything, but for me, this is where it goes back to music telling stories, which is, that's kind of like andytillison.com. That's what I'm all about, is telling stories with music. And the Beethoven Pastoral Symphony was a space opera to me. It was about this fantastic adventure in space. And when I heard it, I wasn't seeing fields and stuff. I was seeing spaceships and planets and nebulae and different galaxies and the rings around strange planets and all that kind of stuff. And I made up my own stories as I listened to the music, and I think that, that's just, as I grew up, it just kind of translated into, as I was writing the music, I was also writing the story in my head, and that's really, where it's all come from.
Plus, you were a big fan of the Canterbury bands as well, right?
I love Canterbury music. Yeah, of course I do. I mean, particularly the Dave Stewart arm of it.
Right.
I think that Egg, Hatfield, the North, National Health, Bruford, that particular arm of it is something that's just fantastic. I love Dave Stewart's playing and his voicing and his compositions. He is probably my favourite keyboard player composer that I've ever had. It's just absolutely fantastic, totally underrated. I think that if he'd been an American, you guys would have given him a Grammy. Over here, nobody's ever heard of him because we're just very, very stuck in the mud. I mean, over there, kind of, you treat Korea like he's royalty, and over here, nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
It's very sad. But that's what being British is all about,
right.
Unfortunately, sometimes. The really talented people get nothing, and it's a very sad.
It is sad.
Situation, is that?
I agree.
So, I loved Caravan, of course. I like the more off left field Canterbury stuff like Henry Cow. I like the Dutch Canterbury scene as well, like Super Sister. They were great. And the only band, strangely enough, that I've never really succeeded in getting into is the Soft Machine, which is really strange. And I still can't do it. I went to see them, really enjoyed it. Theo was playing, of course, and I thought, well, I'm going to get into the Soft Machine. I came back and I thought, right, well, I shall listen to Third and Sixth. I just didn't get it. But one day it'll happen. Don't forget, I'm the guy I've never quite managed to get into Zappa yet,
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. But the thing is I've said right through my whole life, one day I'm going to have nothing to do and I'm going to get into Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the coronavirus is the ideal moment to get into Frank Zappa. So, old man in the corner of the home. Do you remember the coronavirus?
Yeah.
It was Frank Zappa, you know. So, yeah, I'll probably start listening to some of that. As soon as I finish my own album, you know, I'll just sit down and listen to some really cool sounds that I haven't managed to catch up on yet.
Well, one guy, I think, from the Canterbury scene, I had him on my show. He's a great guy, Steve Hillage, guitar player. Good guy.
Yeah, great. I mean, fantastic. Yeah, and of course, like Fish Rising had Dave Stewart on it. So,
right.
And of course, he was also in National Health for a little while with Steve Hillage.
Right.
And the band Khan, Khan, who I really liked, made one album, and Steve Hillage was in that, and Dave Stewart was in that. So, that's really, really great. I met Steve Hillage several times.
Yeah, he's got a lot of albums out, you know, and he's one of those guys. I mean, besides Gong, you know, he had all this solo stuff out, and probably wasn't, you know, recognized enough for his solo work, which he should have, because he put out some great music. He really did.
Yeah, he's done a lot of dance music as well.
Yes, that's right.
I really rate that. I like System 7 stuff.
He sure did.
You know, he's a guy who wasn't prepared to just be limited by what there is. So, yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, he had a partner, right? I don't think that was his wife, was it? With a woman that was Yeah, right.
Miket Zihudi, that's her name.
Right. What was the first album that you bought that really touched you? Like me, prog rock really touched me. You know, Jeff Beck, you know, when I listen to like Diamond Dust, you know, that song, it really, you know, goes into my soul, you know, that kind of thing. What was the first album, the album that really got to you?
It was Close to the Edge.
Close to the Edge?
Close to the Edge, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it was just, I heard it, some kids were around at our house. My mum and dad used to have an after-church party on Sundays where the young people from the church would come round to our house, which was a vicarage, you know. My mum and dad were, you know, in the clergy kind of thing. So, like, you know, these kids would come round, they'd bring their records. I wasn't old enough to come downstairs at the time, so these young people came into the house. Of course, they looked like big people to me because I was small. And one of them was brought Close to the Edge, and I listened to it at the top of the stairs coming out of the dining room.
Right.
And out to the lounge and thinking, wow, this is amazing. And I thought, how will they ever find out who that record was by? When somebody was walking out of the house, I just saw the green record cover and thought, that's it, that's the album. That must be the record I heard. And I decided, I got my pocket money and I went down to the record shop and I found the green record and I bought it, and it was the right one. And I've loved it ever since. I was 12 years old when I bought it.
12 years old, huh? Yeah. How about that? One of my first albums was probably Uriah Heep. One of the first ones from Uriah Heep, and I was, you know, I was about the same age as you were. But yeah.
That's Salisbury or Angels.
Salisbury, maybe. Yeah.
Demons and Wizards.
Demons and Wizards. I think that was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, Angels and Demons. That's the Tom Brown novel, the Dan Brown novel. Yeah.
I got to interview Mick Box backstage at a House of Blues show. He's a great guy. He looks fantastic for his age. I mean, you know, he still looks like a kid.
Once again, that's a band I don't know too much about. I've
really
heard them and everything, and like what I've heard, but you know, I don't know too much about them. They were all more on the kind of hard rock.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, like, I like Deep Purple and all and Black Sabbath and all those guys as well, of course. But equally, as I say, I like Club 7 and the Spice Girls and ABBA. So you know, I just flick between what I want to listen to, and I get something out of all of it, really.
Yeah. What was the first concert you ever went to?
There's an official answer. Well, basically, I got tickets for two concerts at the same time.
Okay. Oh, really?
At Leeds Grand Theatre. I saw the original proper band, and I was about 17 years old at the time, and it was absolutely jaw-dropping. I will never forget that night as long as I live, and to me that was my first gig, but it wasn't my first gig. My first gig was actually Rick Wakeman and the English Rock Ensemble a week before, and I'm sorry to say, Rick, there was no contact. Van der Graaf was just a mind-opening experience.
Yeah.
And, I think that, I sat there one night watching Hugh Banton, the organ player with Van der Graaf, and I think that was the night I sat there and I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
And, Rick has similarly inspired me, when I first heard Close to the Edge, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought I want to do what he's doing.
Right.
But I think that when I saw Hugh live, Hugh Banton, who's a friend of mine now, there's something more real about it. He didn't wear a cape for a start. He was just a kind of regular guy who looked a bit like me, I guess. I kind of thought I'd like to be like he is. I'd like to be involved in a band like that. And and Van der Graaf didn't tell jokes. Well, of course, the Rick Wakeman band was all about jokes and looking about and bits of boogie-woogie, knocking about all over the place, because Rick does tend to do a bit of a circus act. But Van der Graaf was my first proper gig, I think, You know what I mean?
I was fortunate to interview all the guys from Yes, except for Steve Howe. He's the only one I haven't interviewed yet. And,
all right, well, okay. Well, I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah, I know.
I think that, obviously, you have to temper the fact that, a lot of these bands that we're talking about, had this really fantastic creative period.
Yeah.
Since then, it's pretty much been a pretty thin on the ground for any quality material. But there's no doubting that in their heyday, they were absolutely unbelievable. And I think that, I still think that Steve Howe is probably the most recognisable and innovative guitarist I ever got.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Nobody else who's like him. He's just an incredible player.
Right.
Sorry, your voice is a bit quiet, so I hope I'm not walking all over.
No, not at all. I agree with you about Steve Howe, though. There's no one like him. He's got his own style. He plays acoustic. He plays electric.
Yep. It's just like, it just does exactly the opposite of what anybody else would do at the start. You kind of think, who else would have thought of doing that? At that point in the song. And of course, it's just amazing. And of course, I just love that band's classic period. Everything from when they first started in the 1968-69 period, as far as in my case, it's Relayer. There were some nice moments after Relayer, but to me, as far as Relayer, that was the golden era, really, I guess.
It was.
And I still find that period of their career to be, it's like I've often said, probably getting a bit boring because I've been saying things like this in interviews for years, but all that kind of stuff was happening whilst we were going to the moon, 68 through to 74,
right.
This is the Apollo program,
right.
When all this music was being made, and then one day they stopped going back to the moon, and I guess that Yes stopped going back to the top of the observation, it was a very, very long time before anyone went back, and I think that the first band to really go back to where Yes had been was the Flower Kings, and I think that when I first saw them, I just openly wept. I was so blown away to see a band who actually knew how to do that in their own way, and so that was a
Well, I'm counting on the Tangent, and I'm counting on you to not give it up, to keep it going, and I hope you guys tour again. Is that possible?
We certainly want to. We've got plans for next year, so for 2021.
Do you think you'll come to the?
We will probably go out and play a few shows. So. Yep.
Do you think you'll come to the States?
Providing the world is all still here, which I'm presuming it will be. That's the way it is.
Andy, do you think you'll come to the States? I know it's tough,
Well, last time it was pretty tough, I have to say. Last time we came, it cost us. I think we spent $7,500 just to get in, and not including the airfare.
Really?
That's how much it cost us to come to America. $7,500.
Wow.
And we left America having made round about $10,000.
Oh my goodness.
So that we made a profit of $3,000.
Yeah.
For doing a whole tour. I think that it's just getting ridiculous to the point where
I know.
To have to pay to come and play to you guys is difficult. And of course, it's the same for you guys coming over here. Yeah. We don't exactly make it easy. It's certainly not as easy for us as it was back in the day for the bands that we've been talking about. Because they just used to jet all over the world, and they used to stick all the gear on the plane. I mean, nowadays we can't do that. If you want to take a guitar on the aeroplane, they want more money.
I know.
Because it's a guitar. And you go, why is the guitar more expensive than that person?
Yeah.
Because it's a guitar. What? So it's an expensive business, and as I say, the amount of messing about we had to do to get into the States last time, and we weren't sure. We were actually on tour in Europe, and we still didn't know if we were going to be okay to get into the States.
Yeah.
And finally, it all came together, and I was still really nervous going through the airport. Are we going to get stopped? Are we going to get stopped? And at the second festival we played whilst we were over there, we found out that another band who were coming over to play with us, Wobbler, well, they had been stopped and they'd been sent back.
Really?
I just thought, why did they do that? I mean, they've got loads of American people wanting to see this band from Norway, and they just sent them home for not having the right paperwork.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Crazy.
That is
anyway,
crazy.
It's not going to get any easier.
It's not.
But of course, all the bands at the moment have just had to sort of
I know.
Go home in the middle of tours and things.
Yep.
And I just guess I'm very lucky that this time it wasn't me out on the road or anything. I was just at home making an album, which of course is the safest place to be.
Exactly.
But I feel terribly sorry for Jonas, who had to come back. He was in Philadelphia, and they just called the whole tour off, and back he came. Yeah.
So many tours have been canceled.
Pendragon and Lazuli, and it's just really sad to see that happen.
Yeah, King Crimson's supposed to be on a lengthy tour as well, and that can't be a cheap tour for them because they have so many musicians on stage. It's got to be expensive. So
well, that'll be cancelled as well. Won't it?
That's cancelled too. Yeah, it's a shame.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Andy, here's a question. Here's your last question, and I get some interesting answers from this. It's funny, I all the Brits that I interview usually, they love the American R&B. They like the American blues, But I think a lot of the Brits don't realize how much Americans love prog rock, and you guys should be very, very proud because that's your thing. Just like the blues came from, the early 20s and in America, Mississippi Delta, and all that stuff. You guys invented prog rock, and you should be very proud of that. And we take our prog very seriously in the United States. We really do. We really appreciate you guys for doing such a great job with that. Well,
it's very nice of you to say that. it is good to have been, obviously we come from a country where, in effect, this music did start, but, none of it would have happened without without the blues that you've mentioned, of course, so it's all part of it. And, of course, naturally, you've had a lot of really, really great prog bands from over your part of the world anyway, for example, a lot of people quite over here are really into their Swedish prog, and of course that's people like Anglagard and Andy Tillison and things like that, but, all you have to do is find out that there was this American band called Cathedral who did it all years before, and of course there's Kansas, naturally there's Styx, and a lot of Spock's Beard, amazing, and of course the Mars Hollow and Heliopolis, all those people. I've really enjoyed your take on it, of course, and
yeah, but you
naturally, of course, from north of the border, you had Rush, who are a major player.
Yeah, but you guys are very humble when it comes to that. I talked to all the guys from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the Moody Blues, and they all say the same thing. They all give so much credit to American music, and I don't. You guys developed your own style with prog rock. I mean, to me, it came from the classical. Is where it really started instead of the R&B and the blues. You guys invented that. That's all you. That's all the Brits, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think obviously we did have a big part to play in it, and of course, but that was a different generation of people to the one I knew. They were my heroes as I was growing up. Those guys who invented prog rock, and essentially, I'm just one of the original kids who enjoyed that music, who wanted to play it himself, and so kind of I followed them, but at the same time, I discovered all the other progressive rock bands from all over the world. Of course, Focus from Denmark, Vikings from Sweden, Kite Bath from Sweden. I've got millions of records from Italy. I'm a big fan of rock progressivo italiano. I've got stuff from Czechoslovakia, Poland, Russia, the whole blood in the world. That's great. And I absolutely adore the stuff. So, it became a worldwide thing, and it's great to know that it all kind of happened here, and that John Anderson lived in the north of England.
Yes, that's right.
Not in the south, and, that's always nice to know.
Yeah, you guys are amazing, and I wish you would get more credit for that, because to me it's just as important, as the blues and R&B, and it's better musicians. The best musicians in the world are in prog bands. They really are. It's not easy music. It's complicated.
That's interesting. I actually think the best musicians are in Earth, Wind and Fire. But I think that they're American, of course, but it's cool. We've got our own style. I mean, you Americans are quite good at it. You're really good at being sort of like behind the beat, kind of really good, sort of like funky feel.
Right.
British guys, you can follow. If you actually study it, you can actually follow the way British bands tended to be quite ahead of the beat, driving it along, forcing it along, and that went straight into punk rock, to be honest. You can hear that same excitement that you hear on a Damned record. You can still hear that, the way Carl Palmer's driving Emerson, Lake and Palmer along. But think of that against the sort of cool swing of Toto, the way their music sort of like, makes you, it makes you kind of feel more dancey, whereas, British rhythm sections tend to make you want to pogo and headbang a bit more. I think that's part of the two characters of the different countries, and I think that's great. It's the way it works, and sometimes there's just nothing better than hearing American musicians slightly behind the beat deliberately, and then hearing some British guys who are completely off their rockers ahead of it, trying to get to the end as fast as possible. So I love it.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm the opposite. I like British rock better than American rock. I grew up more, with the Deep Purples and the Black Sabbaths, and Tull was my hero. Jethro Tull and Ian Anderson. I got to interview Ian Anderson twice, and very intelligent guy, and you remind me a little bit of Ian Anderson, the way you talk and the way you think and everything, which I admire.
Oh, that's a compliment. I will be quite happy to accept.
Very smart, very intelligent
as well. So
definitely, yeah. Okay, Andy, if you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie Field of Dreams, to perform, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Peter Hamill.
Who is that?
Peter Hamill.
Oh, okay.
From the Graph Generator.
Yeah. You really like that group.
Oh, yeah. That's the guy I'd like to work with.
That's the guy.
And actually, the other person who I really, really would like to work with is Neil Morse.
Yeah, I like Neil Morse. Yeah.
The fact is that, I think there's some ground to be. I've offered him, and I don't think he was particularly interested. But I've met him on a number of occasions,
right.
And he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
The thing is that he's a Christian, and I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I think it would be. I think that I would love to make a record where we found common ground,
right.
positive ground together, and we're able to make a record that people would find useful, made by two people who have completely different views on religion, but do something that's for the good of everyone. I think that would be a great idea. I'd love to have done it, but last time I asked him, he said it was an interesting idea, but he hasn't got back to me on it. Peter Hamill doesn't really like working with many other people, but
right.
he's always had a tightly knit group of musicians around him. He's worked with very few people when you think of the length of his career. I don't think those things are ever likely to happen, but if it were to be possible, I would love to work with Peter Hamill, and that would make me a very happy man.
Well, if there's anything I can do, let me know. I know a lot of the Morse's PR guy. I was supposed to interview him once, way back when, a couple of times, as a matter of fact, and I turned it down for some reason. I don't remember why, but I don't know what happened.
He's a really great keyboard player,
right?
Fantastic player. I really like his playing. I think everybody tends to kind of think of him as being the singer guy,
right?
And I'm always watching his fingers, thinking, yeah, he's really good at this. I've taken a lot of inspiration from his playing. Yeah, definitely.
Andy, anything else you'd like to promote? You got the new album coming out, and you're working on that. What else? What else you got going on?
At the moment, I'm pretty well just involved in making that one record. I will be making another electronic solo album after that.
Okay.
And we will be trying to get the Tangent to tour next year.
Excellent.
Basically, I guess the main thing is that if you haven't heard anything by the Tangent, please try to check out our most recent album, Proxy.
Yep.
And of course, if you do like the stuff and you've already got some, we'll have some more music for you later on this year with the current world situation permitting. And let's just hope that we all get over this, because we've got a lot of music to find in our lives, and we need to get free of this horrible thing that's around us at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, and we got to not let this happen again. Especially, we can't keep closing and shutting down things every time there's a virus overseas. We gotta figure out a way where we don't have to shut things down.
That's right. Yes, that's it. We've basically we've basically grafted a real virus onto an internet virus.
Exactly.
That's what the problem is.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. Looking forward to more incredible music from you and the Tangent.
Thanks very much indeed. It's so nice of you to talk to me, and basically thank you for your part in publicising and keeping progressive rock music in the media. Thank you very much, my friend.
And I'm a big fan of the Tangent. Love the music, and you guys are incredible. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care of yourself.
All right, Andy, you too.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Purchase the latest album by The Tangent, entitled Proxy, at Amazon.com. 5 stars all the way. These guys are incredible. For more information about Andy Tillison and The Tangent, visit www.thetangent.org. That's their official website. Or you can go on Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/all-tangent-members/about. That's on Facebook. And they're also on Twitter, twitter.com/thetangentmusic. Very special thanks to the dynamic duo of Doug and Don Newsom of BBS Radio for making the magic happen for each and every broadcast of Interviewing the Legends. If you have comments or suggestions for the show, contact me at interviewingthelegends@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho, for the very latest interviews. It's real news. And of course, my new book is finally out, entitled The Rockstar Chronicles Series 1, Truths, Confessions, and Wisdom from the Music Legends That Set Us Free. Order yours today on hardcover or ebook at bookbaby.com or amazon.com, featuring over 45 intimate conversations with some of the greatest rock legends on the planet. I do have a book trailer now available on YouTube. You can go right to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho. Thank you so much. Have a great week, everybody, and please stay safe. Be well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on PBS Radio, Station 1.